Hello, welcome again to the Daily Mishnayos. Today we'll be learning the Brachos, the fifth parak, the third, fourth, and fifth Mishnayos. We're going to be finishing the fifth parak today, and the learning should be in memory of Lenny Spodek, Lilu Nishma Yudeli Ben Yisrael, and let's get right going. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the Mishnah says. We're going to start the Mishnah, and it discusses certain prayers or certain statements that are deemed unacceptable and one shouldn't say. And before we get into this, the first phrase of the Mishnah, I want to explain a certain mitzvah, a certain commandment that we are commanded to do in the Torah. And the commandment is that if someone is going to take, has like a farm or something and wants to take chicks, baby birds, and the law is that one isn't allowed to just go to the nest and take the birds right in front of its mother, because that's just not how the Torah prescribes it. So the Torah says that instead of letting the mother watch you taking the birds, what you're going to do is you're going to send away the mother and then take away the birds. So the mother, we might think that a mother might not be in so much pain, or just we have to send away the mother before we're going to take away her eggs. If we're going to take away her eggs or her chicks or whatever we have to take, and that's in our farm, but we have to send away the mother first. So the Mishnah says, Ha'omer, if someone says, Al kansi po yagiru rachamecha, your mercy extends to the bird's nest, meaning that you have mercy on the birds, because you don't just let us, if we own these chicks and we own these birds, you don't just let us take the baby birds while it's in the presence of its mother. You make us send away the mother bird so the mother doesn't see it. So they're saying, they're also saying, just as your mercy extends to the birds, so too it should extend to us. So too may you have mercy on us. So the Mishnah says, and an additional statement, and on good things may your name be remembered. Also, if he says modim, thank you, mishatkinoto, we silence him, we make him be quiet. So the first statement, what is in essence saying? Al kanti po yagir rachamecha. Your bird's nest, your mercy extends to the bird nest. Just like you have mercy on the bird, so you should have mercy on us. The Gemara explains many reasons why this is an unacceptable form of prayer, or an unacceptable statement. The first reason is that it instills jealousy in the creature. It's saying that you don't have mercy on us, but you have mercy on the birds. The thing is that the people are supposed to be like God and supposed to be as close to God as possible, and the birds are just like animals. So you have mercy on the birds, but not us. It instills jealousy. It's not the right attitude, and additionally, a second reason is that you have a false approach to mitzvot in general. You're saying that the reason that God gives us these commandments, God gives us these mitzvot, is because He's merciful and He does good. That's all true, but the reason God gives us these mitzvot, these commandments, that's not the reason why. The reason why is because we're supposed to because God has a greater plan. We don't really understand that plan at this point. And we just have to accept the commandments as if God is like our master, like we're servants to Him, and we just have to understand that we might not understand everything He's telling us to do, but there's a greater scheme for everything, and we just have to understand that, and it's not a good approach when you say, oh, this shows that God has mercy. It actually is a certain commandment that we might not understand, and we shouldn't approach it like this commandment is for God to show His mercy. And I'll mention a third reason why the Gemara says this is not a good form of prayer. Also because the Gemara says that the mitzvah aren't supposed to show us God's mercy. This mitzvah, for example, is supposed to show us to have mercy, not to show God's mercy, to show us that we're going to send away the mother bird, and so too in every other situation in our lives we should be merciful. Okay, so that's the first statement. The second statement about on good things may your name be remembered. So this is saying that only on good should your name be remembered. Only on good occasions and good things may your name be we mentioned, may we recognize you in our lives. But this isn't true, because if we understand that God has a plan for all of us and everything He does is really right and just and good, then even the bad things we should thank God for, because that's part of the grand scheme of things, and that's part of the and that's part of God's plan. And we should understand that even though it might not look so good to us to begin with, something bad, God forbid, then we have to understand that it's really part of God's plan. And so in this, that we should not only on good things may God's name be remembered, but even on bad things, right? So so then there's then the third statement is modim. Someone who says we give thanks. We should silence him. Why? Because he's in this sense he's repeating a prayer of thanks. So it seems like he's practicing dualism. He's like worshiping two gods. Like, oh, thank this God and thank that God. Like it's not the right approach. So we only say thanks once, because we're directing our thoughts and our prayers to one God. So so in all these cases we silence him. So now the Mishnah is going to go on to a different subject. The subject of the process if the leader of the congregation makes a mistake and isn't able to continue with his prayer. So we should also understand that the Mishnah is talking about a specific case where people used to pray usually by heart, because books weren't mass produced. You have to get a scribe to write the book. There were no printing presses, and basically that if someone might forget what he's saying, because he's just reciting it by heart or something. So the Mishnah states, so we should understand that when there's a quorum of at least 10 men, we appoint one person as like called shliach tzibor, the representative of the congregation. He basically is the one up there. He says certain extra prayers and he kind of represents the whole congregation for that prayer service. So someone who is passing before the ark, meaning he's leading the service. And he makes a mistake. Ya'avor acher tachtav. Another person should take his place. Right, so this is referring to the error he's referring to is he might have skipped a certain blessing in the Shemona Esrei, in the main component of the prayer, the 19 blessings, and he might have skipped one and is unable to return, unable to remember that certain blessing, or others say that he can't remember the continuation of a blessing, something like that. So someone else should take his place, and at such a time one should not refuse. Usually someone's supposed to be humble, and if someone asks him to be representative of the whole congregation, he shouldn't accept it right away, and he should be a little humble. But in this case, where one makes an error, in this case, another person should take his place, because we don't want to make a delay between the prayer. It's not respectful, and it's just we don't want to delay everyone while everyone's praying until someone takes his place. So where does that new representative of the congregation, the new shliach tzibor, start? He begins at the beginning of the blessing that the other one made a mistake on. He didn't remember the words or something like that, or someone's not able to continue a certain blessing, so someone should take his place, and he should start from the beginning of the blessing, even though he might be repeating some words of the other person who made a mistake. However, he should start at the beginning of the blessing. That's the end of the first Mishnah. We'll continue on to the second Mishnah. So I should first, before we start the Mishnah, I should first mention that there's a concept that nowadays in the diaspora out of Israel, we say this a certain thing called the Kohanic blessing, Birka Kohanim, on certain festivals and certain times. So the thing is that this is actually prescribed by the Torah. The Kohanim, right, the priests, the Kohanim would like lift their hands and say a certain blessing on the congregation, and this blessing had certain psukim. It consisted of May Hashem bless you and safeguard you. May Hashem illuminate His countenance to you and be gracious to you. May Hashem lift His countenance to you and establish peace for you. And by doing this, the Kohen would fulfill a Torah commandment. And the way that the Kohen would do this is the Shliach Tzibur, the representative of the congregation, he wouldn't be a Kohen. He sometimes might have been a Kohen, he sometimes might not have been a Kohen, but he would mention each word, and then the Kohanim after would all together say that word after the representative says that word. So let's start. However, so someone who represents the congregations, Shliach Tzibur. So after each of the verses, there's 3 verses that make up this Kohanic blessing. After each of the verses, for example, may Hashem bless you and safeguard you. That's the end of a verse. After each of the verses, the whole congregation answers Amen. Right? They answer Amen. That like this should be so. The representative shouldn't answer amen, and like say this should be so like the rest of the congregation. Why shouldn't he? Because there's a risk of confusion. He might get confused, and he might lose his place. Remember that there weren't really books to pray from, so it would be a little confusing. Maybe one would lose his like train of thought, lose his like the flow of what he's saying, and he might get confused, and he might forget the next part of the prayer, and it might just cause a longer he might just delay the congregation. So but if he is the only Kohen and he is actually the one that is leading the congregation, the one that's representing the congregation, he shouldn't do the lifting of the hands, which is called the Kohanic blessing for the whole congregation. Why not? Why shouldn't he do that? Because he might lose. He's praying. And he's gonna step out of this normal flow of the prayer and do the Kohanic blessing, and that he might lose his place. So because he might lose his train of thought. Remember, there's no books. But nowadays this might not apply so heavily because we now have like books to pray from, and we could just look on in the book to remember what place we're up to. So, but if he is certain that he has confidence that he's able to return to the prayer and not be confused, then we allow him to do this blessing, because it's very important that one should recite the Kohanic blessing. And if he's certain that he won't have trouble returning to his place, then we let him do this Nesiya Kapayim, this Kohanic blessing. Okay, that's the end of the second Mishnah. Let's continue to the final Mishnah. Siman Ralo. So if someone is praying, and in the first of the blessings he makes a mistake, he's not able to remember or something like that, the Mishnah says Siman Ralo. It's not a good sign for him, meaning that we believe that all of our actions are dictated by God, and if God, and if certain action happens to us, it's a product of what God wanted. So we're saying that if someone makes a mistake, doesn't remember where he is, doesn't remember how to continue the blessing for one of the first blessings of the Shemona Esrei, the main component of the prayer, then it's not a good sign for him. So maybe he should pray that the bad sign be overturned or something, because God's evidently giving him a message. And if he's the one leading the congregation, Siman Rala Sholchav. It's a bad sign for all the congregants. Why? We have a famous concept that a representative for someone is like the person himself. So, for example, if you appoint me to do something for you, I am as if I am you. It's an interesting concept, but the representative of the congregation, the Shliach Tzibur, is as if he is all the congregants together. So if he makes a mistake in one of these first blessings, then it's not a good sign for all the whole congregation. So there's a story told about Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa that when he would pray about sick people, the Umer Zechai v'Zemet, and he would say, this one it's gonna live, and this one, God forbid, Chas v'Shalom, is gonna it will probably pass away. Amrulo, so his students said to him. His students told him that, how do you know whether this one's going to live or this one's going to, God forbid, it's going to pass away? Amar lahem, he said to them, if my prayer flows well and, if my prayer Amrulo. So his students said to him, how do you know whether this one's gonna live or this one's, God forbid, gonna pass away? He said, he said back to them, if my prayer flows well, if I am able to concentrate then I know that that I know my prayer was accepted, because I know my prayer is flowing well and I'm able to have concentration. And if not, and if not, I know that this person is rejected, and it's part of a divine plan that he's not supposed to go on in this world, and his time is up, so to speak, and his life is up. So it's a very interesting concept that all our lives are dictated by God, and that we should realize that every sign that he provides for us, and we should maybe try to pray to overturn these decrees or something like that, and we should try to concentrate during our prayer. And this is the end of the fifth parak, the fifth chapter. Thank you all for joining us for the Mishnah, learning to be in remember Lenny Spodek, and thanks again for learning and watching these videos. Have a great day.